Hi everyone, this is Cisco Duo tutorial, and the topic for today is how to enable multi-factor authentication on a Windows Logon or when you RDP to Windows Server. This video will show you how to enable Cisco Duo multi-factor authentication, and this will be tested with remote desktop connection to a Windows Server. Reason for doing this video is because I found many videos for this topic to be outdated, and I hope this helps. And some of the useful links you might want to look at is duo.com. And if you want to check out the pricing, duo.com editions and pricing. And if you want to check out the steps to install, you can find these on duo.com/docs/RDP. The first step is to create an account or sign into an existing account if you have one. Let's go quickly onto the page and see what options we have to create a new account. You can see in here you got a lot of options. You got the free version for 1 to 10 users. For this tutorial, I'm just gonna sign up for a free trial, which normally gives us the dual advantage. And I think that should be enough. And after 30 days, I believe that would change on to the free. And if you want to continue, you can continue with any of the options out here. And to sign in, you can click on the admin logon and try and sign in with your username and password once you finish setting this up. I've just done the sign in and tried to do the sign in without anybody seeing my username and password, hopefully. And now that we're in, you got three options and things you need to do. We need to create a user, and after creating a user, we need to create the application or add the application. And after that, we need to add a phone device. I think that is one of the thing that is missing in the setup or in the documentation. But I'll show you the documentation a little bit so you can see what you need to do. Now you can see the documentation. You can follow up on all these steps. And if you watch this video, I will take you through many of the steps and hopefully get us to the end. So the first thing I need to do is to create a user, which I'm going to do by going back into my dashboard and doing that. So to create a new user, I already have one. You click on users on the left, and then you click on users, and then you can create a new user depending on the type of user that you want. For example, I could have a user, and the username will be based on my Windows Server account. So you need to check the name of your window or the logon that you would have. So think of it this way: for every user that you have on your Windows application or your Windows server, for every account that you want to create a multi-factor authentication for, you need to create a username with that name. So in my, I could have an administrator, or I could have an account on my server that is probably John Smith, and then I could have a display name. Don't worry about the display name, doesn't really matter. And this could be John Smith at my organization.com. That doesn't exist for now, but you need to put the right one because it's going to ask you to verify the email address. And it's very important because that is the one that you're going to use to add the phone device and connect with the MFA onto the device. And then we can have first name as John and last name as Smith. And then we can add a user. Just click on add user and that will add the user. I already have a user named administrator that I will be using because on my Windows server, it is an administrator that we're going to be using. Not the best sometimes. So if you have a different name, just put it in there. So the next step is to add a phone to this user. So we're gonna go to John, and as you can see, we've created this because that email address doesn't exist right now, I won't probably do much, but show you how to do this. And all you need to do is remember that this status is active, so you can leave everything as it is, but scroll all the way down and make sure you add the phone. It is very important to add the right phone. Put in a phone number, and it is this phone that will be used to connect and trigger the connection for the multi-factor authentication. So once you do this, for example, let me put in a phone. I'm gonna try and use this one. Let's see if that works. Add phone, and that is now an existing phone. And so you're going to see an option in here that says activate Duo Mobile. That is very important. I need to activate Duo Mobile so I can install Duo Mobile on my phone, and this Duo Mobile will be used as my authentication. So I activate that and I say, um, activate Duo. These forms allow you to generate a new activation code for Duo Mobile. You can generate the activation code. Click on that, and if you want to use an SMS, you can use that. I like to use the email, and I say send it to my email and then send instructions by email. And that will send it directly to my email and I can trigger this. The last step is to add an application, which is the Microsoft RDP. So let's go back onto a dashboard and we click on applications. I've added this in the past, but we can do this again and show you how it's done. Click on add application and try to type in RDP, and that comes up. You want to select Microsoft RDP. Because I have one in the past, it puts a number on the end. I can rename this to anything I want. And most times it disables all for all users. You want to try to enable for your users, but the best way is to enable for a permitted group. I haven't taught you how to do that. So I will enable for all users, which will include my users. And the most important thing we need to copy over is the integration key, the secret key, and the API host name. So when I'm setting this up on my Windows server, you will see it's going to ask me during the installation, what is the API host name, what is the integration key, and what is the secret key, which I would try and paste in there. You can leave every other thing as it is and click on save, and then you can come back to it later. But now I'm going to connect to my Windows server and try to do the installation so you see where it's asking me for these values. You can find the installer in the same page in docs/RDP. You should be able to find the dual authentication for Windows Logon installer package number 8, as you can see right here. So all we need to do is to click on that and download this installer package and then put it on our server. And then when we put it on our server, you should have something similar to the package out there. Once you install your server, you can have the DuoWin login version 5.1.1 is what I have in here. So you double click on that and start installation. So the first option is you want to install that, click on next, and you can start installation. So you need to make sure you follow up on this step to finish the installation. You're going to be asked for the API host name, as you can see on here. Make sure you put in the API host name in there, leave that as it is, and then you're going to put in the integration key and also the secret key. And leave everything as it is and complete the steps till you get to the end. And this guide kinds of tell you what to do. You leave the enable smart card support. You don't have to fill that in. And you don't have to fill every other part, leave it as on default as it is. The one thing that I like to do is I like to put in bypass dual authentication when offline for my test and just to see what happens. When it's dual 2FA is unreachable, you might want to put this, and you can also put in use auto push to authenticate if available, so that you can use the phone call for authentication. Ensure that it's selected. And that should be it. And once you've done all these three steps, you should have your Duo working fine on your server. So we're gonna test that out in a minute. I'm gonna try to connect to a test server. I've put in the details and let's see if it stops me from getting in. And then you get this, it's gonna ask you to kind of like push. I'm getting a notification on my phone, and only when I click on approve on my phone will it let me go in. And that's it. That's how you use Cisco Duo to set up multi-factor authentication. I hope that was okay. And if you got any questions, please put it in the comment section and I'll be glad to help.